Heyo, you're listening to Toasted Time, where I kick your time with some Reddit stories. Right now, you're being toasted with some r/Pettyrevenge, where a boomer throws a tantrum about working from home. Our first story is by warmage. I work for a real estate development company that's about 25 to 30 employees in total. The ages of the people I work with range from 23 to 68. We are expected to be in the office twice a week on days of our choosing. Most of the employees love this system, even the senior level people. Some of the older crowd prefer to be in the office. I have no issues with this, as everyone is free to do whatever works best for them. We have this one employee who is quiet, old, and always has something bitter to say on our morning meetings. He isn't a senior level employee, but most of us answer to him out of respect for his age. He has made some of us run personal errands for him and do additional admin work he doesn't want to do. He is just an old bully and always has something negative to say about our generation. One day, he was tasked to do some admin work for our manager and he asked for help on it. I had back-to-back meetings and a boatload of work to do. I told him I couldn't help, and he was visibly frustrated with me and told me off to my manager. My manager spoke in my defense as she knew how busy I was. Still, I was annoyed with how he handled that. The next morning we had a full team meeting and the topic of working from home came up, and obviously he had a few words about that. He said that his generation were harder working, that our generation has become extremely lazy, that working from home is just an excuse for people not to work, and that our generation has it so easy, and how people worked harder back in the day and didn't slouch at home pretending to be doing their job. It was a very clear jab at my team and I was honestly so fed up, especially after what happened the day before, and I snapped back with, well, back in the day, people could afford a house and support a family off a single person's income at 25. Some team members started laughing and some looked shocked. Immediately, others started chiming in. My coworker added that most people could afford to rent a place on their own for less than a third of what it costs now. I then said that most of us are almost 30 and can't even afford a car, so time and money is wasted on transportation makes a huge difference for some of our lives. For the first time ever, he didn't know what to say. He just stayed dead quiet and tried to nervously laugh it off. The way me and my coworkers were talking was very calm. I didn't come off as rude or condescending. It felt so good to watch our manager nod along and agree with us. Sweet but simple petty revenge. Which someone below who goes by adworking2848 points out a beautiful thing. He probably prefers working at office so he can physically offload his work or seek help easily. Absolutely. Few of the remaining older workers in my org have slowly been exposed by working from home for how little they actually do. They were always pushing for people back into the office, and as time went on, it became clearer it's because they do very little. So it was easy to fill their day looking and feeling important, walking around, talking all day, and calling unnecessary meetings. They can't seem to manage online meetings well, so we seem to have less of them, which is great. Don't you just love hypocrisy? It is so beautiful. The dude is complaining about the younger generation not working hard, and yet he is asking other people to do his own personal errands. Perfect, isn't it? Anywho, continuing on. The next story comes from Markbrev. So, my kid brother got married 12 years ago this year. Being non-religious, they got married and had the reception at a tithe barn at a country house. Thinking for something different for their wedding present, my dad decided that instead of getting several wedding cards for them, He'd hire one car to take them from the venue to their hotel, and as a surprise, hire a helicopter to take the bride and her dad from my parents' place where she was getting ready to the venue. Then, after the ceremony, the newlyweds, her immediate family, and ours would each get a 10-minute flight. So me, set out looking for a helicopter hire. We found this one company. They survey my parents' place to make sure they can get in and out, and they do the same at the venue. Confirm all is okay, and my dad signs a contract and pays the 50% deposit. 3 weeks before the wedding, they ring back and decide that they can't actually get the helicopter into either the venue or our field and would be canceling the hire and would be refunding the deposit when they do their next invoice pay run at the end of the month. Cue my old man losing his crap and by the end of the day getting his money back. What followed was a mad scramble to find another helicopter firm, which in rural Lancaster aren't exactly to be found on every street corner. After a fraught couple of days, we find another firm who are more than happy with getting in and out at both places, are cheaper and more relaxed than the initial firm. When we told them why we were booking at last minute, they told us that we weren't the first that they'd heard of being let down by that firm. And here's where the petty and honestly unintentional revenge comes in. Back then, I was a frequent contributor to a car forum I'll call Mark's Car Nerd Forum, which is how my wife referred to it. Not a massive one, at most I think we had about 70 members, but it was ours. One guy sorted out, set up, and we each bunged him a $5 a year to admin it. There were half a dozen sub-forums where we'd chat about motor shows, new car launches, F1, etc., and one invite-only VIP area. Anyway, out of frustration, I posted on the open pages about how pissed off and stressed we had been over the whole thing with a post titled of Beelzebub's Helitours are a bunch of absolute C's. Nothing I wrote was untrue. I just laid out the facts of what they did and the stress it put us through a couple of weeks before the wedding. Of course, the guys all chimed in support of how crappy we'd been treated, until someone pointed out that we, as a forum, had paid for Google ranking boost and that if someone searched for a particular thing, say Lamborghini Gallardo, then our forum would be on Google page number 1 because one of us had posted about it. So, everyone changed their post to start with a version of, "What's that? Beelzebub's are a bunch of absolute C words?" Within a day, if you searched Beelzebub's Helitours on Google, one of the top results on page 1 was a link titled Beelzebub's Helitours are a bunch of absolute C words. Eventually, one of the directors of said firm emailed the forum admin demanding the post was removed as it was damaging his firm's reputation. Dave, the admin, told him that unless he could provide irrefutable proof that my version of events was in any way incorrect, then the post would be staying up. This was followed by various threats of legal action, to which Dave responded by locking the post with a message, "Beelzebub's Helitours have threatened to sue Mark's Car Nerd Forum to remove this post. We have repeatedly asked them to provide evidence that this version of events is in any way untrue, which they have failed to do so. Until such time that they do, this post will remain up as a true account of how our member was treated by them." To which then OP makes an edit, which I am not going to all read out because a lot of it is just him refuting people having claims on him. He, like people making claims of rich people problems, he refutes that, and from what he'd written, I'm gonna believe him. And there's more, but if you want, you can go read it, up to you. I'm just not going to read it out because it's a lot of words, and if you're not here for it, you're not here for it, and I'm not either, so I'm going to continue on to the comments, starting off with Beautiful Phantom 1, who points out a very good point. Goodness, why threaten legal action when the post was a factual accounting of what happened? Huffing and puffing and threatening to blow your house down. Loads of sound and fury that amounts to nothing, because an awful lot of people will take down content at the first hint of legal action. So the answer to why is because it's cheap if it works. And then there's actually a pretty interesting comment thread starting off from Daily Praise. I love how they were planning to delay the refund. To be honest, I've seen it so often in small or medium businesses over the last 25 years I've had one. It's just how we work, or it's how the system is set up, or our accountant only works 2 days a week, or as they've tried, we only do pay runs once a month. It is a way to keep their bank balance looking healthier for business credit scoring. I did not know that, but to weigh in my own opinion, this is pretty good revenge, and I like it. You didn't even have to do anything. Very nice. Continuing on. And the final story comes from SecretPies. I wonder what that means. Last week, my husband and I went shopping. We came out of one shop and wanted to go to another, which was at the other side of the car park. We walked over and there was no trolleys. What we wanted was packed into 4 heavy boxes and was awkward to carry across a large car park. So I said I'd drive the car over. It's one of those shops where you order at the till and they bring it from the warehouse to the till and you take it to your car. Well, he called me lazy for wanting to move the car, and I tried explaining my side, but no. He was adamant that I was lazy. I went and moved the car because the fridge was I putting my back out carrying an outdoor table and chair set to the car. He berated whilst we waited in the queue, calling me lazy, saying he didn't realize he married someone so lazy, etc. I ended up leaving the shop without the table and chairs because he kept pushing for a reaction. Today, we went back to said shops, and he said he would go get the table and chairs while I went into another shop. Guess what? No trolleys. He rang me and asked me to drive the car over. Did I? No, that's lazy. He started to get pissed and realized he didn't have a leg to stand on. He carried each box separately from the shop to the car. 4 trips there and back. Each time he asked me to move the car and I said that it would be lazy and I didn't realize I married someone so lazy. And then OP made some edits down below. No, I'm not nesting. The furniture is for my parents. And yes, I'm waiting on my lawyer to do their thing, then I can serve him the divorce papers. To which then OP made a second edit. Just woke up to hundreds of Reddit notifications. I'm not gonna read all the comments, but I skimmed a few and Jesus, some of the speculation is wild, Lamau. You could have just asked me for more info, but I guess that would have ruined your narrative, lol. Some of you really do have 2 brain cells fighting for 3rd place. I contacted my lawyer regarding divorce 10 days ago. This petty revenge happened yesterday. I will hand him the papers with witnesses just in case his behavior takes a turn for the worst again. He's recently started to threaten me with beatings if I don't comply. He has treated me like crap for way too long. No matter how many times I've communicated with him about it, he still continues to treat me like crap. His escalation to threats of violence proves to me he doesn't care. I'm not begging him to treat me better anymore. I deserve better. If that makes me an a-hole, then so be it. I'm an a-hole. Someone in a comment points out a very good quote. Work smarter, not harder. Also, to quote Bill Gates, I choose a lazy person to do a hard job, because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. People need to get off their moral high horse. To which then, we have a story from IT down below from Ka the Snake. I work in IT, and I automate the heck out of everything I do. Similar to taking the time to go get the car once you save you 4 trips. Am I lazy? Yup. Do I now have a lot more flexible time to work on more enjoyable projects? Yup. Would I do it again? You betcha. And yeah, I mean that kind of gets to the heart of the problem. Why not get the car? Like, sure, I mean, guess gas is a problem, but you're wasting more time getting the items to and from the store to your vehicle. You're you're wasting money at that rate. You are spending more time to get the items to your car than it costs for fuel to bring your car to you. It is bad maths in the math department of whatever a lazy is. And yeah, it's just dumb. Dumb because you're gonna throw your back out for carrying that crap when you could just, bring a car over, make it a whole lot easier. Just very stupid. Anywho. Well, that is about it for the stories today. But if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe to become a fellow breadbag. But aside from that, I post 2 new videos every day, so I hope to see you in the next time toasting session. But until then, have a good one.